like my heading into season expectations, if things, can go right, if like a lot of things hit, last year we saw the Schwindels go crazy for 6 weeks, Wisdom with the 28 home runs and the great defense, but a giant strikeout number for him though. You had guys like Ortega come out of nowhere. Do I think all that is going to happen again? No, but there's other guys that give you some hope, like a Clint Frazier. It's like, is he actually healthy this year? And if he is,
hope he does well.
He could be a big surprise. Yeah, a lot of people love that guy. Good story. You read up on Clint Frazier. Good dude. Seems like a good dude. A few times he's been interviewed on TV. Seems likable guy. So that's always good. Always want to cheer for guys that seem likable.
I'm a fan because he always rocks Jordans.
And I just hope it's not Jock 2.0, because Jock also would rock the nice Jays, but then we saw what happened last year. But as far as the overall expectation for the Cubs, obviously I'm not happy because I don't like the direction that they went the offseason of, they could have spent more. They should have spent more. There's never an excuse not to spend more, especially as Kevin has pointed out numerous times. They are the most expensive ticket in baseball, like most expensive experience for you as a fan to go. Team-wise, I bet on them to win more than 74.5 games.
Okay.
But honestly, I think at best case scenario, they're like a 500 team.
So what?
They're a 500 team, like 81 and 81.
Third in the division, fourth in the division.
Third in the division, maybe hanging around that third wild card. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously not what you want to hear. When you are the Chicago Cubs, you are in the third largest market, and you're getting outpaced right now by the Brewers and Cardinals, and like there's a significant gap there. At least it's a start, because that's the thing. There is a lot of variance, but like I always like to view it like season for season, like decrease the variance. Like you want the most guaranteed stuff. The Cubs have a lot of guys can either be good or be bad, and there's also like as crappy as it was, like the offseason of like, oh, are they going to go after these guys? And they ended up just, they did get Suzuki. That's exciting. And it's going to be exciting to see him, for a full year. But there's other guys too, like Madrigal. That was the one thing that sucked about last year with that trade, with the Nick Madrigal trade. It's like, all right, you have this huge, blockbuster trade, and you're getting a guy back who, you have under control for, like 5 or more years. Yep. Like Cubs fans, we didn't get to experience like the good and the bad for Nick Madrigal or whatever. Like whatever he is going to be, we didn't get any of it because he had the injury, so he was out for the rest of the year. And like, so this is really going to be our first chance to see the full Madrigal. Can he get back on track? With like the minor stuff, like
noted
defense,
power
the mental errors. Now, yeah, my pick for the Cubs DH, Nick Madrigal, slugger. Hopefully. I guess we can talk about it a little later when we go through the roster stuff, but they signed Andrelton Simmons, but he has an injury. So that kind of opens the door for Nico Horner right away to start every day at shortstop, which should happen anyway. But this makes it better for him anyway. Because as Cubs fans, you should want to see that because we know what Andrelton Simmons is. We don't know yet exactly what Nico Horner is for full years. Like those two guys, they haven't played. They've played like less than 100 games, I think.
Yep.
Each of them in a season. So, but so many things. But at the same time, it's like you start the season being like, I want to be excited, but damn it, they could have done more.
But Yumper and I were joking today because we're going into the season. There are no we don't have a preconceived expectation. We're not trying to convince ourselves that this Cubs team is going to be a contender. We're not trying to convince ourselves that this team is trying to win. I mean, the players will obviously try and win, but we're not operating under the Dunning-Kruger cognitive dissonance of the thinking that this is, we know what we're talking about and this is all going to work out and the Cubs are going to somehow magically overshoot their pay grade by 1,000%. So we're kind of joking that this season we're going to be those two dudes in the Muppets that are in the balcony all season, making jokes. Because I mean, the best way to get through kind of pain is to joke about it a little bit. Now we're not going to get mean with it, but I can tell you I don't really have a lot of expectations. I'm excited to watch Seiya Suzuki play. I'm obviously, how I feel about Nico Horner. Like the fact that Aldo said that it's even a question mark whether Nico should be a starter tells me that David Ross is a jackass sometimes with his lineups because he's going to start Jason Hayward, but he's going to kind of struggle with throwing Nico anywhere in the top 4 or 5 in the lineup, which Nico should be hitting 2 all year long, in my opinion. So he'll probably end up starting and hitting at 9, unfortunately. But, again, I'm curious to see 162 if possible from Nico, from Nick Madrigal. I know that it was kind of funny the other day in the Sox Cub game. Eloy hits a jack, and all the Sox fans are like, "Thank you, Cubs!" And the Cub fans are like, "This game doesn't matter." And then, like a few innings later, Nick Magical hits a home run, and the Cubs are like, "Thank you, White Sox fans!" And White Sox fans like, "It's spring training game; it doesn't matter." So it's kind of funny watching people just kind of flip around. But the polarizing part of Nick Magical is still going to show up. Cubs fans are going to get. Upset about certain. I mean, again, the non-flashy guys, it's going to be a change. You're not going to see a lot of. I mean, you're going to see some guys that are fun, but we're not going to see the Javi stuff anymore. Like, you're going to see that mostly from Wilson. A lot of the guys that are on this team right now just drop their head and play ball, and I like that. I do like that part about it. I'm going to enjoy watching these guys play because they're you kind of like the underdog, and I feel like the Cubs are actually truly an underdog this year. They're guys that are punching upward, not downward, and they're not picked to do much. And I know that besides Cub fans who are obviously notoriously optimistic almost to a fault, having no expectations and just being excited to watch some of these guys kind of kick, try and fight their way. Guys that have been doubted their whole career. A lot of these guys have been doubted their whole career. So if this turns into one of those major league seasons where they're peeling off, clothing pieces from Tom Ricketts, I'm fine with it. I have a severe concern that if the Cubs are 10, 15 games under 500 by the end of May, which is a real possibility, Wilson will be gone. Kyle Hendricks will be gone. And I think a lot of people will be shocked to find that maybe by the trade deadline, Marcus Stroman might be gone. I've heard a couple more national guys even throw that out there. So, yeah. So yeah, right. That was just, he was answering the question like a pro, just giving the right talk. But the pitching staff is 3 deep with a bunch of question marks. But the third is still not 100% right now. And you got a bullpen that is probably solid. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing Justin Steele extend out and get an opportunity. It's unfortunate that it feels like I'm rooting for the Iowa Cubs this year playing in pro ball in a weird way. And so for me, I am 100% supportive of the dudes that are going to put that jersey on and go out there and fight, because it's not their fault that they didn't get help. It's never been the player's fault that they don't get help on a roster.